I think that's a great stopping point. We don't usually have songs that end right at the top of the hour. You're listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. Whew. Mike, thank you for being here. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. You're listening to North of Normal. I'm your host, Amanda McKeen. I normally read a little intro just to make sure that people get the same information every time they tune in. I don't really feel like reading the intro today, but I do feel like telling you. I found out yesterday I have early stage Lyme disease, and it explains why I've been so tired in the last week and have experienced a level of brain fog that I've never known before. So it's good to have an explanation as to what I'm experiencing, but also when you're on a radio show, it's a little bit unnerving to feel so tired and foggy and have to be on a mic. So I'm so glad that Mike Dickerman is here for part 2 with us. But before we do that, let me just remind everybody why we're here. Or, Mike, do you want to remind everyone why we're here?
No, that's
mine? Okay, let me see if I can do it without a script here. North of Normal is an unscripted show. It started last June, so we're almost a year into it. And I started it because I wanted a space for community members to be able to share their stories. There's so many amazing people that live here in the North Country. And as I was getting to know people one-on-one, I realized, oh my gosh, like these are stories that are worth sharing and these people are worth knowing. So I wanted to create a way for people to connect with members in the community and know each other on a very human level, which means that this show has a couple guidelines. And sometimes that means that guests aren't good fits, but the guidelines are: we do not talk about politics.
Hooray.
We do not talk about religion.
Hooray.
We do not use profanity most of the time, as much as possible. And we do not promote. So this is really about showing up authentically, being genuine, being real, and connecting. So, Mike Dickerman, you were on just 3 weeks ago for the first time ever, and it seriously was an epic episode. For our listeners, if you haven't heard part 1, please make sure you go do that. It is touching. There was so much good feedback from everybody in our community. They wanted Mike back. The same day that we published that episode, I got so many messages saying, Mike needs to come back. And so I listened. And that's why Mike's back today so quickly.
So soon.
Yeah. Actually, Mike, you are now ranked the second most listened to episode of all time.
Wow.
How does that make you feel?
It's good. 1 would be better, but I'll take number 2. That's
Let's see. Paul Cormier is in position number 1.
Well, Paul is, he's a great talent.
Paul is a legend.
Interesting guy.
Yeah.
I've known Paul for years, so
yeah,
I bow to him.
But you are, let's see here. You're under 30 listens away from being number 1. So if we get 30 more people that listen to that first episode.
Come on, people, get out there. Turn that radio on.
Not that that's what it's about.
No, it's not.
It's not about that, but it is really telling to me to see how quickly people, get listens. And which episodes really resonate with people. And I think that that's why, is because so many people resonated with the stories that you shared. You talked about recently losing your wife to Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah.
You talked about living here and being part of the newspaper for decades.
Yes.
We talked about the old man of the mountain, and that anniversary just happened, Sunday?
A couple days ago, yeah. Right.
So there's just a lot of things that you shared in that first episode that I think people really understood.
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, I think they did. And, the whole thing with my passing my wife was as I said 3 weeks ago, I mean, she knew a lot of people in town knew her. She knew a lot of people, and they made that connection.
Yeah.
And to be truthful, that's, as you know, I was pretty emotional that day, and I still am when I think about it. But, I also look at this radio show, especially even the second episode is kind of not a counseling session, but a healing session for me.
Yeah.
Really, because I do connect. I get to thank the people that have helped me get through these last 2 months. I mean, it'll be I think 8 weeks tomorrow since she died.
Wow.
So it still resonates with me. I still come home to an empty house every night.
Yeah.
It's too quiet for me. I don't like it. But, I'm getting by with the help of both human beings like yourself. You've been great, Amanda. Others, and little 8-pound dogs, too, have helped along the way.
Oh, Ella.
Yes,
yeah,
Ella.
Anyone that has been following Mike on social media, last week you had a special friend with you the whole week.
Yes, 8 nights, 9 days.
Okay.
Little Ella, a little 8-pound rat terrier, who was on loan for me more or less from Carissa Girdwood, who was Jean's one of her hospice nurses, and she just acquired the dog like 2 weeks beforehand, and she knew she was going on vacation to California, so she asked me if I would watch the dog, and I was a little hesitant at first because I hadn't met the dog, but once I met little Ella, I just fell in love with her, and we had such a great week last week. We did. If you ever saw this dog, and I showed her around town to a few people, she was just a marvel to be. Everybody loved her. And it was interesting because somebody told me the other day, I've never met a rat terrier that was nice. And this dog was like everybody's friend, except for you,
Except
Amanda.
for me. I don't get it.
I think it's your cat. It had to have been your cat smelling you. That's all I can think about.
I know.
You're the only one that she reacted negatively.
I've never had that happen. Seriously, I love animals, and usually when I pass an animal, especially hiking, I see so many dogs.
Right.
They recognize that I'm a kind soul. I can tell. Ella was just like, it was awful.
Yeah,
it made me feel bad.
It was interesting, but I'm blaming it on your cat. That's all we can do. But Ella was great. We went out walks every day, we did about 20 miles of walking last week, which if you saw this little dog, you'd think she's never going to do 20 miles, but she was a trooper, and she was like at my side for 8 straight days, and I can't wait to see her again because I'll gladly dog sit her again. But again, that was such a great thing to have something, get my focus onto something else when I'm home. Yeah. Because the nights are really long. The days are okay because I'm busy. Yeah. And now the golf season has begun for me, which started yesterday. It ties up another day or two, but I still have issues with this whole, losing your wife and just dealing with the loneliness at times. Yeah. I'll probably be starting grief counseling soon, actually. Okay. It's reached that point where I just need other things happening in my life, and I just need some other people to talk to. Yeah. Professionals to do that. But it has been difficult. I don't make no qualms about it. I mean, it hasn't been fun. Right. But I'm getting through, as I say, with the help of people like Carissa, people like you, my golf buddies. I have this core group of guys I've been playing golf with for the last 19 summers, and they've been marvelous all through this. Some have gone through the same experience. Some are going through the same thing right now, and they've been wonderful to deal with. I don't have much family here in town. Yeah. I have a nephew in town, and that's it. And my Jean's sister and her husband. So I have just very small family members. Yeah. Number of family members. So I have to rely on others in the community to help me get through this, and they've been, just like I said, unbelievable. I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but those are the ones. Oh, Claire Brooks too. Claire at the bookstore. She's been all through the whole ordeal with my wife and her Alzheimer's. Claire's been the one I've been able to go to in the back room of the bookstore and talk and cry on her shoulder or just ask for advice. She's been number one.
That's sweet. Claire, if you're listening, thank you.
I'm okay. Go ahead.
You are okay.
Sort of.
Mike, you and I ended up having dinner together last night, and it was not planned. I got a message, I think it was like around 5, and I had just gotten home with the news of having Lyme disease and just feeling so wiped out, and got my medicine. And you sent a message and you're like, I'm going to go to Gold House Pizza for dinner. It's too bad that you can't eat pizza. You could join me or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, could I come say hi anyways? And you're like, sure. So I walked over because I live just like 3 doors down, like the band. And walked in there and you were nowhere to be found. And I was like, what just happened? But then you showed up, and do you want to tell the rest of the story?
Well, yeah. First of all, I was home when I contacted her.
I didn't realize
she thought
that.
I was at my office, which is, 15 doors down from Gold House. So I had to drive down here. So that's why I wasn't late. I said I'd be there in 10 minutes. So
I didn't get that message.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we show up, and of course, I'm there for dinner, not thinking that you're going to eat dinner, of course.
I wasn't either.
If you can believe this, folks, Amanda's lived in town, I think you told me 5 years.
Yeah.
She had never been into Gold House. How can that possibly be?
Because I have celiac disease, and yes, they say it's gluten-free crust, but I'm really particular.
Yeah.
That's usually...
Well, I have a niece who can only have the gluten-free. That's one of the reasons they started the gluten-free there, because of my niece.
Really?
Yeah.
It was because of your family member?
Well, sort of, yeah.
Wow.
So she can eat pizza there and has been eating pizza for
I need to
years.
meet her. She sounds like a powerful person.
Well, anyway, so we show up. When you order food, and then, of course, I reach for my wallet, and voila, it's not there. I have no money on me. I had played golf earlier in the day. My clothes got soaking wet. I ran home to change clothes before I came back downtown and never took my wallet out of my shorts pocket. So I showed up, and Amanda had to step in and pay for my dinner. But now I did pay you back this morning.
Yes, you
did. I did pay.
Now I have cash.
In a cashless society, you have cash.
Yes. So it was good to have dinner together. That's I think I said it over dinner, was like how much I love living in a small community. We were talking about the post office.
Yes.
And just, knowing people by their first names that work at the businesses around here. Mm. And knowing who's a little bit more lenient and who's more rigid with the societal rules.
Yes.
So I love this small town feel. I love that, we can just say, hey, like, I'm going to be at Gold House and you want to come hang out.
Yeah. And that was just spur of the moment. You know, I just like, well, I'm going downtown anyways. And I knew you lived just a couple doors down. So
you're like, Amanda might have some money with her. Maybe I'll just invite her for dinner.
Thank God she did. So I want to ask you, I have to ask you a question first.
Okay.
I want to know how your cat is doing, because we traumatized the cat the other day. This is, if you've been online, you've seen the little promo, short 15-second promo video we did for this program. And while Amanda was there, she saw a book laying on one of my bookcases. She picked it up and brought it home, and it traumatized her cat. So you can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see a photo a couple days ago of this book that I'm holding called Millions of Cats. And it's like it's an old German-rooted story. The pictures are really interesting. And it actually was like the first picture book in America, which was amazing. I mean, when my eye caught it, or it caught my eye, I guess that's what you say. It caught my eye when I was in your store, and I was like, ooh, cats. Because I am a cat lady. And you said, you can have it. And I was like, oh. I looked at in the inside, and it said America's first picture book. And I'm like, Mike, do you really want me to have this? It seems really valuable. So I think I'm going to give it back. But I did take it home. And William, I have a picture where he is looking terribly distraught. So upset. And he's looking at the title of the book, and he's seeing all of the millions of cats. And my interpretation of that look was that he suddenly realized he is not the only cat in the world. Mm-hmm. And that was a big moment for him.
And the look on her, or his face was priceless.
Oh,
it really is priceless.
So he's doing okay. I did have to hold him a little bit extra that day.
You better bring the book back.
I will. Yeah. I will. I think it's probably a really important book for you to have. So, but I did read it, and I meant to bring it today. I was like, well, if Mike and I run out of things to say, which, by the way, I don't think we will.
That's not going to happen.
I could always read that book on air. It was that good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to clarify something, too. I talked about Ella, the dog.
Okay.
And, of course, I posted a bunch of pictures last week
on
all our adventures, basically. And the unanimous consent for most people who reacted to the photos was like, oh, Mike, you're going to get a dog. I know you're going to get a dog. Well, let me state for the record, I do not want a dog. I do not want to be a full-time dog owner at this point in my life. I've just come off 5 years of taking care of my wife. As I say, I was a responsible husband and adult for 5 years. Mm-hmm. I want to be irresponsible for a little while.
Yeah.
I just have something that requires 24-hour day care again. I need a little break from that. I really do. I want to get through the summer, do some more hiking, do some golfing, get back to my business, which has definitely been hurt over the last 2 years because I haven't been able to devote the time that I'd like to my business, which is selling books. So, so maybe down the road, there'll be a dog, a permanent dog in my life. It's not happening right now.
Not right now.
I'll be happy to take Ella again anytime. Carissa, if you're listening, anytime you want to bring Ella over, I'll be happy to have her. She was like the greatest lap dog I've ever had, and she's a sweetheart, as you know.
Well, I don't really know.
No, I mean Carissa. Oh, I'm talking to Carissa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Yes.
And listeners, just
and I'm not in the dog sitting business either.
Yeah.
I've had more people ask me that. Okay. This is a one-time deal for a good friend, and that's it.
All right. Mike is setting the boundaries.
That's right.
All right. Mike, people don't know all of the things that you've brought in with you today, and they don't get the privilege of actually seeing you like I am. You have 2 papers in front of you, and then you brought a stack of yellowish newspapers. They seem somewhat old.
Those are the ones you borrowed a couple weeks ago.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just as a refresher in case I forget some important dates or anything like that. If we even get to that stuff.
If we get to it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have just really prepared yourself today. The 2 papers in front of you, what's on those?
Well, there was a list of things was dealing with the grief, which kind of, dealt with already.
So they're notes for today?
Yeah, just reminders, things, like I said. One thing, I was really reluctant for years to get involved with any social media at all. My nephew, we talked a little bit about this last night. My nephew was bugging me forever to get onto Facebook and do something for my business and for myself, whatever, or both. And I tried Facebook, I don't know, maybe 12 years ago. And I said, no, I don't want to, it's a time suck. That's what my nephew used to say. Mm-hmm. But you really need it. So I refused, I didn't do anything for like another 10 years. I finally got on there. And yes, I don't do any other social media except for Facebook. And it is a time suck. There's no question about it. And I can't stand all the political stuff on there. And I can't stand all the ads. But, again, going back to what's happened to me in what I've experienced over the last 6 months, really. I mean, social media has been a godsend for me.
Wow.
It's this community feel again. It's the people reaching out to you via online. People who I don't even know them. They're just Facebook friends. They know me from my hiking stuff.
Yeah.
They've been amazing. So we all love to bash social media at times, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
But it also it can play an important role, I think, when something like this happens. And that Jan Carver, whose husband died a year or 2 ago, she expressed that in an email to me, or a couple months ago. How it was the same thing for her. It was it helped in the healing process for having people so easily reach out to you.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important to know that, because I'd be the first one to bash social media and all the other crap that you get in there.
Right.
But it's those 2 or 3 messages a day that you get that can really lift you up for the rest of the day and get you thinking about things.
Oh my gosh, Mike. It's really, I'm glad that you shared that, because I think that there is a lot of negativity around it. You know, it's overwhelming. It's very noisy there, but it's so wonderful to hear how it is being helpful. Yeah.
Oh, it absolutely has been. Like I said, on my list of things about the grief thing, that was one of the top things on my list. It really has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I could reach out so easily to people, whether it be relatives in Florida or Dallas or wherever they are. You know, they've all been great. Get in touch with me and keeping in contact with me, and sending great messages if I do post something on Facebook, because I get a little down. I posted something the other day, where I decided to go for a 10-minute walk, and I got outside and ended up walking for an hour and 2.5 miles, but then I got back to my house and it was still quiet and lonely.
Yeah.
But the walk helped.
Yeah.
But people posted, responded to that and said, we're thinking about you.
That's
I think
nice.
about you all the time, which is, it really is touching. And I have so many people in this community who had no idea, I came here 40 years ago. I can't believe it's been here 40 years.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know anybody. I grew up across the river in Vermont.
Yeah.
And I still have a lot of great friends there. I still consider Vermont, Lyndonville, my hometown, even though I've been here for 40 years. But this community, I said that 3 weeks ago, it's been so great. There's so many wonderful people in this town. There's some jerks out there too, but I don't deal with the jerks.
One of the things that I think makes a difference in your experience, just from an outside looking in, is that your posts are real.
Yeah.
They are not you trying to look a certain way. They are not a performance. Mm-hmm. You are showing up real, and that is so obvious. And I think that that's why so many people resonate with your posts and people love you, is because you are not trying to be anybody else.
Well, when I work for the paper, and even some of the books I've written over the years, people have praised me or said good things, but because I don't try to use the flowery language. I just speak. I write like I speak, and people really like that. Yes. It's not going to win me any writing awards. Literary awards. I don't really care. I just, like you said, I want to be me. Yeah. And it shows through my writing. Yeah. And I like to think it shows through the Facebook post or whatever.
Absolutely, it does.
And thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
So I have a question. When did that happen? Or have you always been like that?
I think I've always been like that. I like to say, I'm very well grounded. I'm so well grounded. I look up at the slugs in the garden. That's how well grounded I am.
I've never heard that. Is that a saying?
No, I made that up the other day. But no, I am. I'm just an average guy. I really am. I mean, that's the way I think I talked again last time I was on. I hated school. I did well in school, but I was just in the background. I didn't play sports. If they had a golf team, I would have played golf. I didn't have golf team when I was in high school. I was just in the background. I just wanted to be me. Yeah. And I've carried that all the way through. There's nothing fake about me. That's for sure.
I think that is a gift that you've been able to do that most of your life.
Thank you.
Yeah, it really is.
I like to be. I don't want to say like to be everybody's friend, because I'm not everybody's friend. You're going to meet people along the way that you're going to cross in some way. I certainly found that when I worked at the newspaper as a reporter, writing the hard news and writing these stories about people who did wrong and got convicted, and they didn't like seeing their name in the paper. Yeah. I mean,
did you ever have people that tried to come after you in some way?
No, but they would certainly call the newspaper and complain about me and stuff like that. I remember I did one story, God, I don't know, probably 1990, maybe before that, where there was the head of the welfare office in Bethlehem was caught embezzling funds, taking money from welfare accounts and using it for her own purpose, buying a dog, paying her electric bills, stuff like that. And me with one of the selectmen at the time, we kind of covertly found out all this information and published it. Because the police chief at the time was friends with the welfare person. He wasn't going to do anything about it. And so it was kind of a cover-up with the selectmen and everybody. Yeah. And we uncovered it in the paper. And immediately the next day, the state police took over the investigation. The woman got convicted. I sat almost right next to her in Grafton County Courthouse when she got convicted. Of course, she didn't say anything to me, and I was just there covering it. But I mean, I know there were people who were not happy about that.
Yeah. What did that feel like internally for you to be part of that?
Well, to me, I actually won best investigative story of the year for weekly newspapers for that story.
For that one?
So it was.
Did you bring that story with you?
No, I haven't seen that story in years. But it was it was validation for what we were going through, and I knew something was going wrong. And that was one of the cases where really we knew something was going on in town hall. Yeah. We didn't know what, and just a chance meeting at my brother's house with a mutual friend of ours. It happened to be her money that was being taken to pay for this stuff.
Yeah.
Just a chance encounter with this woman.
Yeah.
In my brother's house led me to this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Because she filled me in. Because nobody in the town office was going to talk about it. They were definitely swept it under the rug. So that was kind of nice.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Were you at all nervous or experiencing any anxiety about putting that out there?
No. The only time I experienced some anxiety, again, I was covering Bethlehem at the time. There was some connections made between the Winter Hill mob, which was the mob in Boston, and the developers of the Maplewood condominium complex. This is a story that I was working with, and a friend of mine who did some writing for the Caledonian Record at the time. We were kind of working on this together, and I think he got off the story, but he was feeding me information. And I published a story about the ties between these guys that are building the condos and the mob scene in Boston. And the day the paper came out, the guys that were at Maplewood, there were the two stores in Bethlehem, the Irving Station, well, it wasn't Irving then, and the store in town. They went, as soon as the paper hit the streets, they bought up all the papers. So people in town couldn't get the paper. So we just simply restocked them 2 or 3 times that week. And I can remember I was a little nervous about that because we're dealing with the mob here.
Yes.
Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah. Were you looking over your shoulder?
I was for a few days. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was an interesting story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about how being a reporter, especially in a smaller town, kind of maybe makes you vulnerable in a way where people are telling you things because they want to kind of manipulate.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me about how you handled that.
Yeah, that's a tough one, I mean, my big beat back then was Lincoln Woodstock area.
Yeah.
And that's when all the condominiums were being, we talked about that last time a little bit, all the condos were being built. Lincoln was kind of overwhelmed with the development that was going on in town. They weren't ready for it. Mm-hmm. And you had the old guard who wanted to go back to the days of the paper mill, and you had the new guard who wanted to develop. So there was a real clash between the two camps there, and both sides would contact me, and both sides would try to manipulate which stories I wrote and stuff. Yeah, so you just got to I think I said I knew I got it right when both sides complained about the same story.
Yeah,
you're one-sided for these guys, and the other people on the other side would say the same thing. You're being one-sided. So you walk a fine line on something like that. I'm
sure you have to you can't just shut everybody down because they're helping you in a sense.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You need people to share things.
Yeah. I mean, there were some issues I met with the town manager in Lincoln at the time, who I really liked, and he was a great source for me, resource. Maybe at times, maybe too good a source, because he would leak information to me, which really I probably shouldn't have done. Yeah. And sometimes I admit I use that to my advantage sometimes. Yeah. But I got the story out there, stories that weren't going to be told. He obviously had his agenda, But again, like I said, the people on the other side, they had their agenda as well. So you kind of got to, you tiptoe through it and get through it, and then 2 weeks later, people forget about it because something else has happened.
Yeah, that's still the case today. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. I had issues even in the newsroom, just my boss and stuff like that. I remember I did a story, and this is one I like to tell because it vindicated me in the end.
Okay.
Now there was a Rich Dale who was the only Littleton-born player to play in the major leagues. Baseball.
Okay.
He was a star athlete here in the late 60s, early 70s in Littleton. He went on to UNH, and he ended up playing professional baseball for, I think, 4 or 5 different teams. He played for Kansas City Royals. He was best known for that. He was American League Rookie Pitcher of the Year. He pitched in the World Series in 1980. He played for the Giants, the Reds, and eventually he ended up his career with the Red Sox.
Okay.
So later on, he went to Japan, pitched the winning game in the Japan World Series, and then eventually came back to the U.S. and was a coach. He worked his way up for the minor leagues, and at one point he was the pitching coach for the Pawtucket Red Sox, which is the Red Sox top minor league team.
Okay.
So I went down I decided, I had a relationship with Rich over the years on different stories. So I said, I'm going to, call him up and say, hey, I'd love to come down and do a story on you. As the pitching coach, since you're working your way up to the majors. He eventually got to the Red Sox, too. It was eventually when the manager he was working for, Butch Hobson, was named manager of the Red Sox, he brought Rich along with him.
Okay.
But I went down to Pawtucket, stayed at his place for 2 days.
You did?
Had an unbelievable experience there. Talking with the guys. I remember I was there for 3 games a weekend. Stayed at his place 2 nights. His wife was away for the weekend, so it worked out good. And we sat up till, you come home from the ball game. And the first night we sat up till like 3 o'clock in the morning, just talking baseball. The next night there was a big turmoil with the Red Sox and bringing players up. So Rich couldn't stay up that night because he was out doing stuff.
Yeah.
But I remember some of his ball players, he lived in a condo complex with some of the other players. So they actually brought me home. They brought me up to the New England Patriots practice. They were used to practice in Smithfield, Rhode Island.
Wow.
So to kill time during the day, one of the players was told to bring Mike up there and bring him back. But I ran a 2-piece feature story on him. And I forget what years it was, maybe 91, 92. And it was really well received. Again, ended up winning awards in New Hampshire for the best sports feature.
Very cool.
But my boss was furious at me.
Why?
For going down to Pawtucket without getting authorization to do this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was a sports editor at the time. I kind of had leeway. The main editor of the paper really had nothing to do with the sports. It was all basically my decision. I've been there at that point like 6 or 7 years. I said, I'm just going to do it, I'm going to have some fun.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would have just said, screw it.
I'm a lifelong baseball fan, so I was in heaven.
Yes.
I was in heaven that weekend. I sat in the Pawtucket dugout with Johnny Pesky, who was a Red Sox legend. We sat before the game. We talked for 45 minutes.
That's awesome, Mike.
It was a great thing for me. But I caught so much crap from the newspaper, the higher-ups of the newspaper, the following weekend when they found out I did that. But again, I was vindicated somewhat again because it won it did win an award for the best sports feature.
Did you ever get an apology after you won the award?
No, of course not.
Of course not.
No. And I think that's one reason later on when the editor of the paper retired, I was by far had the most experience of anybody on the staff, and they passed me over for editorship, which irked me and irked a lot of people in the community too, that they passed me by. I think there's stuff like that went on that rubbed people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Ironically, about 10 years later, when after the paper had been sold and Salmon Press bought the paper, and of course they were spitting up and chewing out editors one after another, and I was working at my office downtown, and the owner of the general manager of Salmon Press at the time came by my office and offered me the job of editorship. They just fired like the 4th one in the last year and a half. And I said, well, it's December. I'm like busy at Christmas time.
Yeah.
And retail. I said, I can't deal with this right now. Come back to me in January. But they never came back. But if I could have agreed on the spot. I could have finally been the editor of the paper. But at that point, the newspaper business was starting to sour because of the internet.
Right.
And their staff, when I worked for the paper, we had a full-time staff of 6 or 7 people in the newsroom itself. By then it was down to like 2 or 3 people. There's no way you can really... I couldn't have produced the kind of paper that I would have wanted to produce. I wouldn't have had the bodies to do it. And it would have been a full-time, all-consuming job. And what would I have done with my book business, which was just really starting to pick up?
Yeah, and that's really your passion, right?
Oh, it is, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's why I could retire now if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I love what I'm doing. I love every time an order comes in online for a book, or I get an email order from a bookstore. I still love it. It's a live and die for that in many ways.
What is that feeling like when you see an order come in?
Oh, I love I think I told you the story at one point. Again, I was reluctant to go on, even sell online.
Yeah.
And I was shamed into doing it selling on Amazon Marketplace by Franklin Pierce University, which I was doing a project with them. They said, no, you have to do this. We want it available to people on Amazon. Mm-hmm. So I put the book up. It was the Beyond the Notches book, another award-winning book.
Yeah, great book.
And the first day I got 3 orders for it. The first day I loaded up. The only book I had online. The only book I had. And we sold 3 copies the first day. I said, there's something to this. You know? And then, again, I was reluctant. I didn't really have the money to do a website, my own website. And through Ren and a grant that they got, they had somebody came in and showed us how to do our website. They would build it for us. We chose how to maintain it. And we went online and quietly online at 10 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday morning or whatever, with no promotion or anything, just a quiet...
Hit the button to go live.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 10 minutes later, I had my first order.
Oh, my gosh. I don't even know how that's possible.
I know.
How is that possible?
I know. The web designer, I emailed him right after. He said, you're right. That's about what his reaction was. How did that happen? It was pretty amazing. So it opened up my...
Was this like when the internet just came out?
No, this was like 2013, I think I started my website, or 2015. Because I did Amazon first, and then I did my website.
Yeah.
It was pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
I've been still doing it since. I know there's more I can do online. I've been so consumed with everything else in my life the last couple of years that I've fallen behind on so many things. I have all these writing projects I mentioned before that I wanted to get done. I haven't had time. Maybe next winter I can start tackling some of that stuff. But
yeah, well, there's always like so much around us. There's abundance of opportunities, and we get to pick what we do. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
And right now, you recognize like you need to not be tied down to things, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I would like to get my office and shop in order again, and my home, truthful, is not getting much better. But I'll find time to do it. But I want to have a little fun for a while.
Yeah, I think
it's been so long since I've had fun.
Right.
I mean, one of the great joys I've had since Gene died, if you can have a joy after, is I found people like you, like Carissa, like Claire, who I can laugh with.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so long that there was no laughter in my life.
Yeah.
And you guys have made all the difference in the world to me. You really have. So.
Well, you've made a difference in our lives too. And I don't know Carissa or Claire, but just imagining that they're having interactions similar to mine, I'm sure that you're making them laugh too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a good time whenever we get together.
Yeah. It's like just being real.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's freedom in that. It feels good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, as a reporter, I'm starting to get a better idea of the many sides that you kind of take with that, where you're not just in a vulnerable place with the bad guys.
Right.
You also have opportunities to be with people that you've idolized, and
absolutely, yeah.
You get opportunities to hang out with people that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise.
Oh, that's no question about that.
Yeah.
And I remember during the we're not supposed to talk politics, but I want to tell this story because no, this is fine. When they had one of the presidential debates, Democratic presidential debate, so it must have been right before the primary in 1988. They were doing one down in New England College in Henniker. And I was one of the press people to answer the questions. Al Gore was there. Bruce
to
Babbitt.
Answer or ask?
Ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah. I was one of the three press panelists.
Ooh.
So that was kind of neat to rub elbows with these guys. I mean, all the top candidates were there.
Were you nervous?
No.
Did you know what you were going to ask?
Oh, yeah. I had some prepared questions. Stuff like that. Okay. I don't remember what they were now. One was about affordable housing. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Because that was a big issue at the time. That's when all the condos were being built in Lincoln. A bunch of them were being built in Bethlehem. All of a sudden, prices were getting out of control, where North Country before that had been reasonably priced. I come from 2 years of working in southern New Hampshire, and I looked at the real estate prices there, and we get all the papers in the state would come in, and I'd look at the prices in Peterborough in the Monadnock region or Manchester. I looked at their prices up north and said, wow, they're like half price up in north. You can afford to buy a house up there.
Yeah.
So, but that was at the point where things were getting started to get a little out of hand.
So with the questions that you prepared, I'm curious, as a reporter, do you get to decide what questions you, Mike Dickerman, want to ask, or is it you're asking on behalf of the region that you represent?
I think both, because I don't want to say I had my agenda, but I did some items that were really near and dear to my heart,
Yeah.
And that was one of the affordable.
And that's okay, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the time, I was thinking about, am I ever going to be able to buy a house? Will I be able to find a house? So that was a real issue for me, and for not my constituents, because they're not my voters, but for the people I write for.
Right.
There was it was definitely a thought there, and of course I remember Barack Obama came to visit here, and so it must have been, when was he elected? 2008. So it was 2007 Memorial Day weekend. I came downtown, just came downtown to get the newspaper. I saw a big bus in front of the diner, and all these mobs of people and press people said, "Oh, must be a presidential candidate here."
Wow.
And it was Barack Obama was here, and he was in front of the community center. He was heading over that way, and I was sitting on the wall in front of him, and he came over to me and shook my hand. And again, being a baseball fan, and he was a big baseball fan, I said, "So how are the Chicago White Sox doing this year?" He got such a kick out of that.
So you talked to him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, yeah. But I wasn't a reporter back then. That was just No, I was just...
You were just a Joe Schmo on the
exactly.
side of the street?
But yeah, I mean, obviously when I worked for the paper, you're interviewing all the, presidential candidates. You're interviewing the gubernatorial candidates. Some sports figures would come by, There was a guy that used to play... he played NBA for a while, but back in college he was the big sensation. Manute Bol. I don't know if you remember me. He was like 7'6" guy from some country in Africa. I forget. He was incredible. And I was working in Peterborough at the time, and I thought, it'd be kind of fun. He was playing in Manchester, team in Manchester. I forget which school it was. I said, it'd be fun to go to that, see this game, and see the circus. And literally, the place was jammed. People were literally sitting on the rafters in the gym. I've never seen a college basketball crowd. It's a small school. And I managed somehow, after the game, I snuck back into their locker room and got...
You snuck into the locker room?
I found the back way to get into the locker room, and I got to interview Manute Bol, which nobody else did at the time, So it was kind of cool that, something like that, because he was an oddity, really.
Yeah.
But he did go on to play professional ball. But he was a string bean of a guy. He was, I don't know what he weighed, but for 7'6", he didn't weigh a whole lot.
Oh,
he
man.
really was. Yeah, it was pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like that, again, Peterborough. I went over to the what used to be the Volvo tennis tournament. Which was founded in North Conway, but then eventually moved over to Stratton Mountain in Vermont. And I got to sit on the court taking photographs with John McEnroe and Yvonne Lendl, and there was Jimmy Connors, all these guys, and I got to talk to them a little bit too.
Very cool.
So that was for a little guy, working from a small town in Vermont, it was pretty cool to be involved in that stuff. Because when I went to college, my focus wasn't on writing, but it was on television. I wanted to be in television production, and my goal in college was I want to be on the sidelines at the Super Bowl, running a camera, doing something.
Oh.
So I never got to do that because just the way things worked out.
Yeah.
You know, I never turned into writing instead. Started working in 1974, 17 years old as a part-time sports writer. And I worked all the way through college as a part-time sports writer. And that just fell into my lap, the writing thing. There were more jobs available in newspapers than there were for television. So things didn't work out, but so those were my kind of like shining moments. There were the stories that I covered were really cool to see. Yeah, people, maybe not idols. The tennis guys were certainly my idols. If you follow tennis, you know, I mean, they were all the big names were at that tournament. It was neat and to be on the court, literally on the court, right at center court, taking photographs of these guys. And
you probably felt like, you know, you were special and important.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. It was really cool. Yeah, so I miss those things. I don't miss all the high school basketball games that I covered, all that stuff. I mean, I covered way too many high school sports games. I still follow the stuff in the newspaper, but I literally have not been to a high school sporting event in probably 28 years. After covering sports for 24 years, I went cold turkey.
Yeah.
I mean, no, not for me. I've done enough of this.
Burned out.
Yeah. And I think it's great what the local schools have done with their athletics, especially in Littleton. They're always competitive in almost every sport they have, but I'm just not into it. I don't have any kids in this system, and that phase of my life is long gone. So
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it's interesting how life has phases, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I'm more into the book phase at this point. So,
and I think you're kind of
authors, and
you're kind of dabbling in the hiking phase again.
Yeah, somewhat again. Yeah, after many years, you know, nothing major, but it's nice to get out there. Just, I've forgotten how fun it is. Just even last week with the dog, with the little Ella. You know, we didn't really do any hikes, but we walked along the Franconia Knots bike path like 3 times in 4 days.
Yeah.
And this time of year up there, I mean, you got the traffic on one side, but the other side, the woods, you know, there's no leaves on the trees. It's beautiful. The streams are still running pretty good. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I loved. That's why I kept going back. You don't have to worry about ticks. We're on paved.
Oh God.
You know about that. But that's the only reason I went there, because you're on pavement.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about the dog getting a tick and passing one over to me or whatever.
Yeah.
And the scenery was gorgeous, and I'd never walked that stretch until last week. The northern part of the bike path. We walked all the way from the north end of the bike path to the tramway, which is about 3 miles, and then walked back, of course. But it was gorgeous. I'll go back again. I might go back Thursday. You know,
good.
Just because it's supposed to rain the next couple of days, the waterfalls are going to be gorgeous, beautiful when I walk through there.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think the Flume is opening up too. So
yeah, I think so this weekend. Yeah. I try to avoid the crowds.
The crowds definitely. Speaking of hiking, I know you have hiked a lot with Steve Smith.
Yes, yeah.
Who is the original owner of the Mountain Wanderer in Lincoln.
Yeah.
You guys are buddies.
We've been best buddies since we both worked at the Mount Washington Hotel.
Oh, he did too?
Yeah, he was in the marketing end of it.
Oh, and while you were in security?
Yeah, when I was in security, exactly. And that's when we first started hiking, that 1984.
Okay.
I think the first hike we did was actually over in Vermont. He came over to Vermont, and we hiked up Mount Pisgah in Willoughby.
Oh, I love that one.
Yeah, we did that with my brother, and a couple other guys came over from over this way. And that was before the hotel opened that spring. And then we started hiking. I mean, I met Steve through my brother, and we started hiking that summer, and we hiked, virtually every weekend for about 10 years, because we were doing all the peak bagging and exploring stuff like that. And he's still my best friend. Even though we don't hike, we haven't hiked in several years now. But he's on my list. I have a list. I developed a list over the last month. People keep contacting me and saying, I want to do a hike with you. I want to do a hike with you. The list is up to 14 people right now.
Oh, that's a lot of people.
I knocked off a few last week.
Okay.
So I need a social agent at this point. I really need a social secretary to light up all these hikes.
Okay, so I have a question, because, you and Steve had so many experiences together. How are we doing on time? We got 11 minutes.
Okay.
You guys had so many experiences, and, you wrote books from those experiences. Mm-hmm. You paid attention to the details of the terrain and everything that you could see when you're at the peak, and all the, little what do you call them? The details of every trail.
Oh yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So idiosyncrasies is the word. I was thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you, brain.
It's foggy, but the fog is clearing.
So, what is one of the most memorable hiking experiences you've had with Steve?
With Steve?
Yes.
Well, that's a good one. I think, we did a trip up to Baxter State Park.
In Maine?
Yeah, probably in 1990. We were both working on the New England 100 highest list.
Okay.
And that summer was brutally hot. I mean, brutally hot. We went up there. If you know the rules of Baxter, it's pretty full. You generally have to make your reservations.
Yes.
Well in it, months and months
it's
in
annoying.
Advance. We went up there with no reservations. We were going to be up there for a week. We had nothing reserved. We got there. I think we got there on a Saturday morning and said, okay, we stopped at the main office. Let's see what's available. And so we end up, we get one night here or 2 nights here and another night over here. We were back and forth on the perimeter road numerous times. But we were able to find a spot every night.
Yeah. And
the big thing was that we wanted to get up to Katahdin, the culminating point of our trip. So we did get like 3 nights at Chimney Pond, which is right at the base of Baxter State. Yeah. Baxter Peak. So it was unbelievably hot and humid that weekend. Everything was dry. It was drought conditions. It was so hard. Hiking was so hard.
What trail did you go up?
Well, we did. I know we came down the knife edge. I can tell you that. Okay. We went up the Chimney. I think when we did Baxter. I think we went up the Chimney and looped over Baxter and then down the knife edge. Okay. But it was so hot that you couldn't keep anything cool. I mean, the streams were virtually the streams. We thought, well, we hiked, brought in 6-pack of beer or soda or whatever, hike and thinking we could keep it cool in the water. Well, that didn't work because everything was so. It was just brutal. But that was an incredible week of hiking. It really was, and I just remember the terrain and stuff, and just the heat. And
what was it like on Knife's Edge?
It was scary. It was. Yeah. We picked the best day of the week. It was so hazy. We didn't get the good views that week because it was just too hot and humid. That was probably the coolest day, and even up there was I think it was in the mid-70s, and there was still some haze, so we didn't get the really great views. But it was pretty windy up there, and going across the knife edge was pretty intimidating. But there's one spot which they call the Chimney, which is, for a little guy like me with short legs, it's a really hard spot. We're going down it, and I was like, that was the scariest part for me because it's a bit of a. It's hard to describe. Yeah, it was a real reach for me. I remember that was really scary.
Oh, my gosh.
But there were a couple of things that happened. One morning, we were in our lean-to at Chimney Pond, and right at dawn, just after it got light out, 2 small moose came in front of the shelter, and they were playing with one another in front of our...
They were?
In front of the... kind of dancing around and stuff, and that was such a neat thing to see.
That is neat.
Earlier, we'd seen there was a guy napping down next to Chimney Pond, and we'd seen a couple bull mooses around. And this moose, literally, we watched him step over this guy. The guy was sleeping. He literally stepped over the guy. He had no idea that it happened, It was so bizarre.
Were you guys, holding your breath? Please don't step on him?
It was funny. And then the last night, we had booked, I think, 3 or 4 nights at this lean-to. Well, the last night we were going to be there, this married couple came up, and they had a room in there's a bunkhouse at Chimney Pond, and there was a big group of outward bound kids were up there, all teenagers, 14, 15 years old, and these newlyweds were going to have to sleep in the bunkhouse with all these other kids who'd been out for a week doing stuff, Yeah. So I'm sure it was pretty rank in there. I'm sure, So we said we can't do that. We can't let this newlyweds stay in that bunkhouse with them. So we switched spots. So here,
you did?
You guys can have the lean-to, have some privacy. We'll go hang out with the kids.
Oh my gosh, that's so nice of you.
Yeah, it was the right thing to do.
Was it your idea or Steve's?
I think we mutually agreed.
Mutually?
We can't let this happen.
Yeah.
And it's funny because there was another couple. We were coming down the knife edge. Just before we got to the knife edge, we met this other couple. They were both overweight, not fit hikers. And that's where he decided to take his wife on their honeymoon. Hike up Baxter State Park Peak. Now, they just come off the knife edge. And they were arguing like it was unbelievable. She was not happy with him. So we asked the rangers when we got back down to the base a couple of days later, said, what happened to that couple? Said they had like a hellacious argument when they got back down to the parking lot. She was ready to kill him 2 days after they got married.
Oh, that is a bad idea.
That's a bad way to start a long-term relationship, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I mean, it brings me back to some of my own experiences, you know, in relationships where we decided to do something out of our comfort zone together, and it created so much stress that we ended up like yelling at each other. You know, it's just like one of those responses that you have when you're stressed out. Yeah. You want to just like take it out on whoever's closest to you.
The other thing with Steve too, I can't remember whether I mentioned this last time or not. When we did our winter peak bagging, you know, our rule was no matter what the temperature is, you know, when we reach the summit in the wintertime, 30 minutes we stay on the summit no matter what, no matter how bad it is.
Really?
We just didn't want to say, well, we tagged it, and we wanted to make more of an experience. And that
30 minutes is a long time.
It's a long time when it's like 25 below zero and it's windy and stuff. But we did it on every summit, you know.
What, you just stand around and stare at your watches?
Yeah. Get a little snack, or, you know, I'm a sweat hog, you know, when I'm hiking. Really? So I'd have to dress.
Change your clothes.
Change your clothes, stuff like that. Which can be really challenging in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yes.
Or like melt.
Did you have like a bothy bag or something that you could get under, at least, in those types of conditions?
I remember one time on Mount Willie we did that. I changed. That was like probably the coldest because it was snowing to beat hell. And it was really bad. And I had to change it. My T-shirt or whatever I was wearing was so soaked. Yeah. So I had to change. I remember going bare-chested in the middle of that snowstorm. It's like, oh my God, why am I doing this, you know? But I had to do it.
But seriously.
I couldn't have stayed for half an hour, which would have been too cold.
You would have become hypothermic.
Yeah,
it's the best thing you can do. It sounds so illogical. Yeah. But it seriously is the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
When your clothes are soaking wet. Like, get them off.
Yeah, and I mean, literally, we'd start on a trail in the wintertime, and, you know, within a quarter mile, a half mile, you know, my shirts are off. I'm just hiking in a shirt, or jacket's off, hiking just in a shirt and stuff, no matter how cold it is. Yeah. Because I just sweat so much. Yeah. You know, then every time you stop, you got to bundle back up again. But
I know.
Layer up again.
It's a challenge.
It is. Winter hiking is tough.
It is tough.
You know, I told you, my first winter hike I did this year after many years after not doing it, I left my keys at home. Right. We had to break into my house to get back in.
Well, that was tough because you forgot something.
Well, that's a unfortunate. It happens a lot to me, unfortunately.
Yeah, forgetting things like your wallet.
Yeah, but wallets and keys are a real problem, and cell phones. And cell phones. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's a blessing after all.
Yeah, well,
right. Someone paid for your dinner last night.
I appreciate that. It was a good dinner too.
It was good. And it was good to have that first experience in Gold House Pizza with you. So.
About time, Amanda. About time.
It was time. So we got 2 minutes left, Mike. All right. I don't know if we've talked about much that was on your list.
Not much, really.
But that's okay. You can save it for the next time.
Well, I hope there's a next time.
Do you think you'd be interested in coming back? Maybe. I know you want to be a free spirit right now. Yeah. So I don't want to try and get some kind of regular commitment out of you, but I've really enjoyed having you as a guest, and I know that people enjoy listening to you. Oh, happy to come back, You will come back? Oh, absolutely. Whenever? Yeah, whenever. Well, maybe not whenever, but... We'll work something out. Yeah, working in the schedule, yeah. I really enjoy doing this, Yeah. Like I said, you've been such a blessing for me for the last... We only met about 5 weeks ago. Yeah, it wasn't that long. But, you've really been special to me, and I've really enjoyed doing the show. And you're doing such a great job with this show. Thank you. I mean, this show is... The last 3 weeks especially have been so... I think it's what you strive to do, The show the last 3 weeks is really... I'm not sure you're peaking, but you're getting to the point where you want to...
where you've tried to build this up over the last year.
Yeah.
And I think it's really working, and I think it's really resonating in the community. And
thanks,
so
Mike.
I'm proud to be part of this.
Thank you.
This, to be truthful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're part of it, and I agree. Like, it's felt like there's been some different energy and momentum in the last month. I do want to make sure that everybody knows that the secret of this show is the people that say yes to come on, and the people that are choosing to be open and share their stories. Barbara Emmons, Neil Brodeen. I mean, there's been so many wonderful people just in the last month. But there are people that were on here in the beginning that before the show was becoming known and more popular, those conversations were incredibly powerful as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you haven't heard all of those, it's a good idea to just go and see who I've had on. Because, you know, I think of Lynn Grigolovich from Theater Up. She was a fantastic person to have on. There's just so many wonderful people in this community. So the show is made by our community.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm getting at. Yeah. It's been wonderful.
Agree. Yeah.
So thank you.
Keep on doing what you're doing.
I will, as long as these damn ticks leave me alone. It is the top of the hour, and I want to remind our listeners that you're listening to WZNC LP Bethlehem, North Country Community Radio, 99.9 FM, and we're streaming online at nococommunityradio.org. You have been tuned into North of Normal. I'm your host, Amanda McKeen. If you have somebody that you think should be on this show, I am so open to suggestions. I am listening. Please send me a message. You can find me either on social media or you can send me an email. My email address is amanda@clearviewadvantage.com. If something stuck with you from today, something resonated with you, and you just want to share some feedback, I would love to get that from you as well. It's always wonderful to know how things are landing for people. So please share your feedback. Okay, Mike, I think we did it.
I think we did.
It's been a miracle. We'll be back next Tuesday. And who is my next guest? Oh, it's Addie Two Owls. Awesome. She's been on before, so she's a repeat guest. She's an artist. So tune in next week, Tuesday. We're going to be live from 10 to 11. Until then, stay grounded, stay curious, and stay a little north of normal. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was better back when we were kids. Thought we knew everything we really did. And no